Okay, as simple as it may seem, a lot of people don't know. We're about to remove the motor board from this Gottlieb super spin. Now there are a couple of different ways this has to be done on various models. Some models this whole board has to be unscrewed from the cabinet and come out. But on these later machines from around 76, I think this is 77, you don't have to do that. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be removing 3 screws, one here, there's one under here, and one down the back here. We're going to undo this plug from the front door easily, and we're going to then disconnect the wires off the flipper switches, being careful. We're going to take the wires off the tilt ball roll. We're going to undo the cable strap there. There's 2 to do, one on the other side. And we're going to undo the screw off the tilt, the one on the left there. While we're looking at the motor board, we just can quickly see. Here we have a bent wire form. We'll have to fix up a little later on. This is why you get the motor board out and you can work on it on the bench. You're not bending over, doing your back in. Makes it so much easier. Well, we think so anyway. So the next thing we're going to do now, as you can see, everything's disconnected from there now, so that stays there. We're going to pull the wires off the chimes, off the other flipper switch, and off the knocker. We've got them out. Now we'll undo the switch. That's got 4 screws on it in general. So you'll take that black cover off. Underneath that there's 2 pieces of metal, which we'll show you in just a moment, and you take those off. We're going to need to replace the cord on this machine. We normally replace them, that's all been bent and debauched, so we'll fix that up. We'll make sure it's grounded properly. So let's see. Yes, this machine was designed for the Australian market when Gottlieb used to stamp those. Now I'm told reliably that the things that they used to change was the motor from, that's the actual motor, that from 60 hertz to 50 hertz, change the cord, and that's pretty well all they had to do. Some countries are a lot different. There you go, there's that switch, that's come out, 2 plates. Alright, that can all be discarded. We'll take,
there's a little tab there.
We'll unscrew the chimes off a little later on. Right, now we can undo these big screws. Like I said, there's 3 of them. Sometimes you won't see all 3. Alright, now the motor board is ready for extraction. So you can just lift it up gently at one end, toward the front, slide it back down, and out it comes. Now there's something too, the back of that cabinet's falling apart. That's typical of these games. They're made with that particle board, or compression board I think people call it. Look, it's not real good, that. Well, probably just put some glue under that and fix that up a little later on. So that's how you remove a motor board. Now we've got the motor board on the bench. Oh, now they are referred to as a bottom panel. Okay, I think the factory do refer to them as that. And then we call it a motor board. There's the transformer. So that's the Australian transformer. You can, they put a plug on it here. You can take that plug out and move it forward, and that'll turn it into 110 volts if it ever went back to America. You just need to put another plug on it, I guess. So we've got the relay stacks. We'll go through all these. We'll give the score motor a bit of a clean up. We've already spoken about that. We'll check the fuses and the fuse holders to make sure they're okay, and then we'll go right through the whole thing. So that's how you remove a motorboard. I suggest you do that if you're going to be working on games. As I said, it makes it a lot easier for you to do.
One relay using parts too.
Yes, so alright, well we've done pretty much most of the work on the motorboard now. So there we are, just got a bit of kerosene and cleaned up the top of the score motor. It had a bit of grease and everything on it. Now, new line cord's been fitted. Remember that had all the bent prongs, so we thought we better get rid of that. Now, we checked the fuses, and one of the first things we found, there was a blown fuse on the 25 volt side, 15 amp fuse. Now generally when something like that, when that particular fuse is blown, there's a coil that's faulty. So we always like to get our meter, say hook onto the common of the score motor, it's probably easiest to do, and then just run around and check all the coils. There we go. Yeah, beautiful. And then eventually we got down to the W relay, which is okay now. And we had a burnt out coil. So there it is there. So that's most likely what caused the fuse to blow. So it simply pays you to do little things like this. It can save you a lot of time. If you put that motorboard back in without carrying out those tests, you would have had a blown coil, probably would have blown another fuse, and wasted your time. So we've got it on the bench, we could solder it back in, and no further problems. We like to put those circuit breakers in to save blowing any fuses. As you can get 10, 15 amp, 5 amp, different ratings, but pretty much 10 or 15 amp get you out of trouble. The only other fuse to check in this game was the line fuse, which we've already checked. That's generally a slow blow fuse, as you can see there. No drop targets in this game, so there's no, or is there? Well, that'll be under the playfield anyway if there was. I can't recall. Okay, so all that remains now is to clean those Jones plugs, which of course is very important. Clean those plugs. Nice and dirty, we'll give them a good clean up. Well, the next thing we better do now we've done all that work will be just to check to make sure the motor is running and the fuse trip isn't blowing, just in case there may be another problem. Now, what you generally do, where the coin door plugs in, it's normally the top left and bottom right wires. Now, always check on the slam switch, and I've just confirmed that's that red and yellow, I think it is there, and that whitey coloured one there. So I've plugged it into the power, so it's live. So now we should be able to press the 500 point relay, or any relay that makes a score motor run for that matter. And there she goes. Okay, so the motor's running, so that's all good. The only thing to do now, we've cleaned those Jones plugs up, given them a polish with the Scotch-Brite. The only thing to do now will be, and this is a two-handed job, so I'm going to have to do this without offline. A bracket here and a bracket here, they have pins in them. Remove those pins. Gently, you're able to lift the score motor up like this, and just with a large pair of duck bills, just gently bend those out of the road so you can lift the motor over and turn it and lubricate it. I'll show you where to lubricate it. So there we are, we've got the score motor out of its cradle. Very easy to do, and you drop fine oil, like machine oil, down onto that felt pad, and I do it till it won't absorb any more oil. Now what to be careful of, this wire here, that comes out of the motor jack, motor servicing jack, so make sure you put that back in or your motor won't run. So the side there with the yellow and red wire, that's where you plug it into, but if you wanted to check the motor, you can plug the jack into there, and you can manually turn the motor and things will happen without it turning at its normal speed. You just do it very slowly if you want to keep your eye on switches. Some machines don't have that. Easy enough to put one on if you needed it. Very good if you're looking for a timing problem or something like that can often occur. Alright, well, I'll put that back together now. And this motorboard will be good to put back in the machine. Now once again, this is the way we do it. It's not necessarily the way a lot of people do it. And please bear in mind, if you're doing stuff like this, it's voltage, it's your line voltage that you're messing with. particularly on the slam switches. So be very, very careful. Okay, well, this has been another Goat Shed presentation. Thanks very much for watching, and we hope that you subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up on our videos, and of course you're more than welcome to make any comments. Thanks again.